you've got some new faces in there, but I think, bigger picture, I got to see 2 new debuts and some returning players. I thought Chloe Lacasse was outstanding and was a pivotal turning point in the game. I thought we, first half, very much, you could see, tried a new system and new faces. It was clunky, but I loved our response second half. It's the Canada that I know that'll take it to the opposition. Calls didn't go our way. There's some poor decisions, but at the same time, we've got to, take a game to our hands where decisions made left or right, it doesn't actually impact the game because we've been so dominant. So overall, it's, in the grand scheme of it, it's a loss. We don't never ever want to lose. But at the same time, I think it's, in the grand scheme of everything, we're moving forward in terms of tactics, faces, and obviously the depleted squad. Yeah, I think that's the response. I think that's actually good for us to one, get a loss, and two, to be 2 goals down, set plays. If the grand scheme of things, shots, and we dominated the game. We just didn't, as you've seen towards the end, the ball wouldn't go in the back of the net. But I think what I liked was the response. It's the Canada response, that mindset, that resilience. We have to keep hunting. We can't be hunted. And I think, we've got that gold medal on our back in many ways, and we have to keep moving forward and taking games to opposition, which we certainly did in the second half. I think what I've seen second half is exactly what I'd like going into that next game. I think the adjustment to the altitude showed, and it was a slow-paced first half. But I think as well, we've got to stay focused on the game, not on the decisions. And I think that frustration at times can build in the game. But this is what we're going to experience in tournaments. Decisions aren't going to go our way, and we've just got to keep focusing on the process and what we need to do. But I hope to see a great response, and like I say, some great performances from some individuals. Now we'll get some other faces on the pitch and ready to go for game 2.
Head coach Bev Priestman speaking after Canada's 2-1 loss to Mexico in a friendly on Saturday. They'll play Mexico once again on Tuesday. And yes, these are friendlies. You never want to lose, though. That loss snapped a 12-game unbeaten streak for the Canadians. But when Bev Priestman is talking about things that the team can learn from, Ollie, are you on the same page with her? Do you see that as more positives than negatives, or do you see the loss as concerning? Considering, yes, they're friendlies, but heading into a World Cup qualifying year, and there's still a lot to be figured out.
Yeah, from a coach's point of view, I can understand why she will feel quite positive, because sometimes those kinds of games, that's how you learn, right? You don't learn as much when you're winning games and you're dominating opponents like they did against New Zealand. I think sometimes you need to be tested, and also sometimes you need to do some experimentation as well, which she did, trying a 3-4-3 system in the first half. And that's where you start to really learn more about your team, and also how you can continue to evolve the team as well. So, look, the performance wasn't good. There's no escaping that. I think if you're just judging the performance in itself and obviously the result, you cannot say that was a positive day for Canada. But I think there's a lot that she'll take out of it, which will help the team going forwards. And this Mexico team, by the way, is could be a real competitor at the Women's Championship.
Yeah, they're on the rise significantly. Yeah. Keep an eye on them. I think when Bev Priestman put the back 3 out there, I don't think she was putting it out there to win the game. No. I think she's putting it out there to see things, right? And eventually they turned to a back 4 in the second half, and they found a different gear. But gave up two set-piece goals, not ideal either. But as she alluded to, some big players. I thought Pickett was very good too, and debut players that are coming on and making a difference. So yeah, ultimately it's something that the outcome, more the process, I think.
So when you look at Tuesday's game, do you see it as a game that, they must win, or do you see it as in, all right, this is another opportunity for Bev Priestman to experiment?
I think it's still the second one. I mean, look, they don't want to lose games. She alluded to it there. There's that balance, right, where you've got to go out there and win. But do you want to go out there and win with your best players out there and not learn anything? Or do you want to go out there and maybe win and try and learn something? And right now's the time where you're at the poker table and you can have a bit of a go and throw a few things down there and maybe see how they work, right? You're not going to learn anything otherwise. And you don't get many opportunities as an international coach to do that kind of thing, Ollie, before you're back in the thick of things and must-win games come around the corner.
Yeah, there's a balance, I think, right? You constantly want to be improving the team. This is a time to try and be improving the team. And, if they stand still and stay where they are from now until 2023, they're not going to win a World Cup, right? No. So that has to happen. At the same time, I think you want to keep your level high. And particularly with this game being kind of more of a real game, it's being played in front of fans at a proper stadium and all the rest of it. You want to see a performance and you want to see, a true showing of what you are against a team that, again, you know, with the revamped format of this Women's Championship next summer, they're probably going to be playing a playoff against Mexico to qualify for the Olympics in 2024. So this is going to be a real rival for Canada in the coming years, and you want to show a good performance.
I feel like that's going to be a topic on our pregame show on Tuesday as we get you set for that women's match once again against Mexico. But in May, ESPN.com released a top 21 women's players under the age of 21, and Canada's Jordyn Huitema was fourth on that list. Now, since then, she has gone on to win a gold medal at the Olympics, and she's also scored a hat trick in Champions League. So the question is begged to be asked then, Ollie, is she living up to the hype as being the next Christine St. Clair? Because that's what a lot of people were saying a couple years ago, right? When she came in as a teenager, as a young pup.
Living up to that is almost an impossible ask, right? Like that's such a high bar to set. I'm really hoping that 2022 is a big year for her. I thought coming off the bench in this game, she was a real bright spot. It's one of the best kind of cameo performances, at least I've seen from her as a substitute in a Canada jersey. You know, she dropped deep, linked the play up well, combined well with Chloe Lacasse, who was very impressive as well. Aerially, I thought she was a real threat, and that's something where as Jordyn Huitema starts to mature physically, like she's 5'11", she's going to be a real matchup problem for a lot of defenses if she can become that kind of more physical and aerial presence. She's starting to play more for PSG off the bench now and getting some goals, obviously, in the league, in the Champions League. So I think that things are going in the right direction for her, and now it's about really turning this into a big year next year, I think. Yeah, two things for me. In France, she's in the great environment where she can get better every day, right? That's where she needs to be. That level's going to, we've seen with so many players, even in this national team, that they've done the same thing. The second thing, it's funny how the question's worded about Christine St. Clair. I don't know how you play both of them together. Because when Sinclair plays, and she plays that role right now, where she drops deep, you almost play a split striker role, where you almost play 2-10, a number 10, and then two spikers who are wide. You know, you think of a Prince or a Rose or an Adriana Leon or something like that. She doesn't fit that kind of style. It's more of a direct win second balls. So for me, it was interesting, Sinclair, when she came on. At the moment, in the best 11, I don't think she gets in it while Sinclair's on the pitch.
And I don't mean this as a slight in any way, shape, or form, because we've seen a lot of this happen in athletes' careers. She had been hyped up early on, rightfully so. She was scoring goals, being dubbed the next Christine St. Clair, and then it kind of dipped for her. And she actually wasn't named to the 18-player roster for the Olympics. It was because of COVID. They had the expanded roster, and she got in. Sometimes it's a little bit of a wake-up call, wouldn't you say? Because I also feel like her game, especially at the club level, ended up going another way up after those Olympics in particular, too. Yeah,
and there's never one direct line, right? So you've got to go through that as well. I have to say, when she came on in the Olympics, I thought she was terrific. And you've got to know your role. And Bev Priestman identified her role as being a big difference maker coming on. And instantly, I thought she was there. I think she's got the right mentality, too, by the way, to get through to the next stage.
It's not linear. Like, you look at Jessie Fleming, okay, she'd proven more than Huitema, but she did then have a bit of a dip as well, where maybe the college game wasn't really challenging her anymore. She goes to Chelsea, and she's had an absolutely fantastic year and was one of the best players at the Olympic Games, right? So things can turn very quickly or start to improve very quickly. And again, that's the hope with Huitema.
Well, we're going to see the women once again on Tuesday. Be sure to join me for their next friendly. I'll be joined by soccer writer Laura Armstrong and former national team player Kaylin Kyle. It all gets started at 5 p.m. ET right here on OneSoccer.